Hi everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and I am proud to bring to you today my final review of the Transformers Collectors Club figure subscription service. This is the sixth and final figure, Ultra Mammoth. Ultra Mammoth is a repaint of the Beast Wars Neo Big Convoy mold, who was in the early 2000s repainted into the Universe exclusive, which was exclusive to Target stores, Nemesis Prime. As you can see, Ultra Mammoth is a woolly mammoth. There are a few gimmicks in this mode. First, and I'm going to turn him towards the camera to do this, you can grab the articulated ears, and then pulling them back causes the tusks to move. And of course, in doing so, you might run the risk of aggravating some of the panels. This is he's not a shell former, but very panely. And that's called the goring attack. The next gimmick is there's a lever here on the top of the head, which pulling up back on it causes his trunk to move. Now, I am not sure how this will stand up over time, since it's probably some sort of like wire and soft rubber. You'll have to ask people who own the original Ultra Mammoth figure. There is also an attack mode. First, what you want to do is come back here, disconnect the rear hump of the Mammoth, and flip it up. It pegs into the two back legs here. Next, what you want to do, and I find it's easy to do it by coming in underneath the back there, pushing up, and disconnecting these two panels, just like so. Next, you're going to come into the front, split the head slightly, allowing you to lift the trunk and the entire back section up. Doing so, you're going to flip the rear section out of the view of the camera. There, I adjusted it for you. Then you're going to rotate 180 degrees and then bring everything back down slightly. Just like so. And so basically now you have a butt gun for Ultra Mammoth. And I do have the missiles in. Next, what you want to do, having to adjust the camera back down for you, is I find it very easy to do it this way. This was suggested by Piog in his Big Convoy review. Push from the inside while pulling, to loosen up these side panels here. They're on a little track system. Once you're done struggling like a small man-child to get the panels out, you actually will have side rocket launchers. Unfortunately, I thought you could store the missiles, which are these little red hook things, in the side there, but you can't. So you'll have to leave them out. I'll load it when he's in robot mode to give you the full look and features there. But that's basically all the features for Mammoth mode. So we're just going to pause them like this, and we're going to get into the transformation. I thought transformation would be somewhat difficult, but it's actually not. First, now you can transform the figure with this still attached, but I recommend pulling it off. It clips on from the top there onto a peg, and we're going to put that off to the side. That will become a weapon in robot mode. Next, what I think you do is you can fold the ears back, and then proceed to come in the front, detach the front legs from the front of the mammoth head, or what's left of the mammoth head, which will be split, and then proceed to fold them down at the knee, and while doing that, rotate the rear legs behind. They are on a double hinge there, so you can position them to taste. Next, what you want to do is straighten the legs out they're on a nice tight ratchet joint. Next, if you went ahead and left the panels out, what you want to do is just go ahead and rotate them around so the launcher is facing down. Come in behind the figure, and this is actually a little tricky because you can't really put it down, but you're going to take what were the rear mammoth legs and you're going to flip them up, and they're going to friction peg into place right there, and it's going to be able to clip, and then down here the bottom is going to clip in behind, so you'll actually have a very secure leg joint, and from there you can flip out the rest of the heel and the foot forward, and the heel will fit in that space quite nicely. So doing it again on this leg, it's going to snap it in, then clip it down, and spread the heel, spread the toe. And there you have the legs transformed. So I'm just going to pause here to continue to adjust the camera and continue the transformation. Continuing the transformation, you want to grab the waist and rotate it around. And thus, rotate the robot around so he's facing forward. What one also can do is swivel those back legs back a little further on those double joints. Get them out of the way however you see fit. Really, the instructions aren't that clear on it, but whatever. Next, you're going to come behind the robot. You can flip that up. Detach the hands, which are pegged into the back there, and then proceed to swing them out and rotate them down. At this point, you can just go ahead and adjust what were the mammoth's face down around the back. We'll get to the bit in a little bit. So we're just going to straighten the arms out like that. You're going to rotate it around just like so. Now, if you notice on the elbow, there is a little point. It does fit into a groove on the shoulder there, so you do know how you have it lined up. Next, what you're going to do is bring the arms up at that shoulder. That will actually friction into place. So then what you can do is bring the arms down so the that little disc piece is facing forward, and rotate it at the ball joint at the elbow. Now, the elbows really aren't ball jointed. They are ratchet, but there is like a bicep ball joint. Very nice. And then, of course, as you've been seeing, because it is slipping down, you can go ahead, bring down the torso so it will click into place, and spread the antennae on the head. Now, you can then basically just leave the mammoth's heads like that, or you can flip them back and they're rocket launchers molded on the inside. But for the most part, here he is in robot mode, Ultra Mammoth. Let's come in and get a detailed view. Starting us off is, of course, the head. It's a repaint of Optimus Prime, or I should say Big Convoy, so Optimus Primal. But since Ultra Magnus was a repaint of Optimus Prime, it sort of works. Looks very close to the Transformers Collectors Club comic that's been going on, and I really do enjoy that. There is a ball joint there, so he does move. You do have ball joints here in the shoulder. Now, what's interesting is they do keep the gimmick from Big Convoy, where on this side it's all solid, but here you have translucent plastic. You also have translucent plastic for one of the First figures, the original Big Convoy was one of the first figures to feature this. You fold it down, and he has a removable matrix. Now, of course, this one is done in silver. I think the original was done in gold, maybe. I'm not 100% sure. But he can hold it due to the articulation, but just the fact that it's there and it's removable is very unique. Coming down the arms, like I said, he has a ball-jointed bicep and a ratcheting elbow. There is also some articulation in the wrist, go forward and back. Ratcheting hips. There is I think, is there still waist articulation once you collapse everything? Yes, there is. Some. Very slight, but hey, it's better than nothing. And you do have ratcheting knees and some work out of the elbows. As you can see for the colors, it's all basically white and red, blue, the classic colors of Ultra Magnus, or, as he is here, Ultra Mammoth. Now, of course, in robot mode, there's a lot of gimmicks. So we're actually going to start taking a look at those right now. The first gimmick is basically Ultra Mammoth is a walking tank. These little panels here, which unfortunately do not really peg in, can be folded back, and you can then fold out what were, well, on the original figure, and I think even on the Nemesis Prime repaint, Tonfas. But I think in the Transformers Collectors Club, they are machine guns. It can peg into the bottom of his hand. I'm hesitant to do that because it's very tight, but you can do that on both arms, which I think is absolutely fantastic. And, it's one of the few bits of symmetry on this figure. Next, as I mentioned, in Mammoth mode, you have these little spring-loaded launchers on his leg. I'll load one for you. They are on a teethed system, so you just want to pop that in, and then we're gonna just angle it just right so it doesn't get caught, and it does shoot fairly far. Gotta love these late 90s, early 2000s spring-loaded gimmicks. But that's not all with Ultra Mammoth. Remember his face and back? Well, that can actually form a giant freaking gun. I'm going to move the big guy back. Basically, what you're going to do is just fold what was the trunk down. Go ahead and fold up that tail section, the tail into the body. Go ahead, bring these little side panels down. A lot of this can be adjusted to taste. Bring them up like that, sort of like a side guard. You can leave them open like that, like a blast shield. Really would work as a blast shield because of what it is. Coming in underneath, you're going to fold that panel out as a handguard, and right there is a handle. Ultra Mammoth can hold his face, will hold his trunk as a cannon. And that's actually been one of the most mentioned features of the Big Convoy mold. And I gotta say, at first I thought this was completely insane, but in person it does look kind of cool. And because of all the ratcheting joints, he can hold it up. Now to fire, and it's really easier to fire in this mode than in Mammoth mode. There's a disc there, so you're just going to want to rotate the disc, and it will allow you to fire the missiles independently. What I usually do is after firing one, you got to go back and recalibrate it a little, so it will fire the second, just like that. And I hope you guys saw that because my hand was sort of in the way. But this is actually a really cool figure, and I do appreciate having those kind of gimmicks in it. I did forget to mention when going over the articulation of Ultra Mammoth that he does have a thigh swivel, which allows for some more dynamic posing. The kibble does help hold him up, so you can have a little fun with it. Ultra Mammoth is a mammoth figure, pardon the pun. While the core robot isn't that much bigger than a Voyager class figure, the bulk and the width of his tucks really thicken him up. As you can see, the tusks are so wide and so big that I just can't fit them all into frame, and I do have the camera pulled back. Can I recommend this figure? Seeing as how this will probably be one of the more expensive, if not the most expensive, figure from the figure subscription service to get on the aftermarket, I'm not sure. If you have one of the previous versions of the mold, Big Convoy or Nemesis Prime, I'm not sure if I can recommend it. But what I can recommend is that every Transformer collector should have at least one version of this figure in its collection. It's a fun figure, the gimmicks are really neat, and for the historical aspect of having a removable matrix. Overall, I think the figure subscription service was an excellent first attempt. I'm anxious to see what they're going to do in 2.0. Now, if I'm completely honest, I really don't have a standout favorite from the first version of this subscription service. I guess I didn't want to use the term wave because it's not really waves. But if I had to, I would say Ultra Mammoth and maybe Scourge. This is your old pal Chuck for Ultra Mammoth. We'll see you next time.